PM lilpanda here with Mike Good. For this BuilderDAO Streams series, we are talking with our favorite Nouns Builder creators. We want to thank BuilderDAO voters like Zora, who paid us half an ETH to create this content. This content is not financial advice. We own tokens in these projects and we're interviewing our friends. Participating in these projects can have significant legal or tax consequences. You should consult lawyers or accountants before buying any tokens. That said, I really enjoyed speaking with Zaak.eth because exploring the frontiers of cooperation is really interesting. And Zaak is sort of like a Sherpa, building this product block by block. So let's get started. We are here with Zaak.eth from BuilderDAO. Where do you work and what do you do?
I'm currently a PM at Zora, and my remit or my main responsibility right now is to work on Nouns Builder and really help us transition into the open source era. We've recently open sourced Nouns Builder, and one of the reasons why it's such an important moment for us to open source the code base is that Nouns Builder from day one is a public good infrastructure. We want to proliferate the Nounish model and the Nounish meme over to the broader crypto space. And with this tool itself, it makes it very easy for any communities, existing communities, new communities, to create their own DAO using the tool. Even if they're not technical, it does it in a way that really honors the Nounish model around daily options, on-chain governance, and transparency within DAO decision making.
What part of the product are you building right now?
Some of the questions I've been thinking about would be, how do we continuously improve Nouns Builder's user experience in an open source environment? How do we onboard external contributors? How do we educate users about the tool? How do we support them? And the other one is also around what kind of user problems are we currently seeing? And how do we decide which user problems should we be tackling first? And what sort of engineering support do we need to address them? There's also the part where I'm thinking about ways to get more communities to use Nouns Builder to create Nounish DAOs. I'm really in the mindset of how do we partner with these existing communities and provide them the tools that allow them to experiment with the Nounish DAO model. So yeah, that's it. Those three main things are currently what I'm thinking about very much on a day-to-day basis as the PM at Zora for Nouns Builder.
I'm really excited because you are going to be sharing some assets with us, right?
The Figma files for Nouns Builder is actually open source. The artwork and assets are open source, cc0 as well. Let me just ensure that it's public and everyone can see it. Share it. Okay. Sharing it right here. Wow. It's
like unwrapping a Christmas present.
Yeah, let's actually really talk about the artwork. And I think it would be quite useful to also bring up one of Jacob's tweets and that entire thread about the branding and the noggles and the three lines that you see that represents Builder. I think the one thing that we can all align on, the one major advantage or one unfair advantage, I would even call it, is the ability to really build things together collectively. From day one, even for Nouns and Nouns Builder, it's always become open source and it's to leverage cc0 visuals. And that's one of the reasons why we actually went with Unicode. If you haven't realized that, actually all these symbols that you see directly in the artwork, they're actually Unicode symbols. And why Unicode? It's because we want these symbols to act as open containers that's free for interpretation. We want the community to fill them with their own meaning. And we want them to really go crazy with the artwork, make it in a way that suits the community, that represents their community, that represents their brand, their identity. So that's one of the reasons why we went with the Unicode symbols. And I think I really have to give full credits to the team, the Imagination Studio team at Zora. They were the geniuses behind that came up with these amazing artwork and sort of these layers for us to play around with, to create with. And it's ultimately, it's a way for us to convey, a sense of progress and a momentum in the spirit of building collectively as a DAO, as a community, as a group of people coming to build really cool things together. And then the other aspect of it is actually the idea of passports as well. When the Imagination Studio team told me about it, I was like, wow, the idea of passports being represented through artwork is actually really powerful, because it's universally understood as an idea that helps you understand, like it connects to the notion of belonging to something, like a passport, and that also directly ties into flags, right? Like that's what most of the time it's a way to symbolize united groups of people. What might flags look like for these emergent on-chain communities that are coming out through Nouns Builder, or even through other communities who are slowly coming into the Nounish ecosystem? Like, what would be the best way for them to represent themselves? So a flag, that direction of using a flag as a symbol was a very powerful sort of notion for us that we really wanted to lean into with the artwork. It's instantly recognizable. It's unique, but it in on itself, it's a tool for further creation in whatever interpretation that you might have for these layers that we've created for the community. Have you, how I'd say it's very much like traveling through a wormhole, or like traveling through a portal that teleports you to the future, and that future of nouns, or like nounish model, eventually is to build things together more creatively together, more effectively together, more productively together. So that's how I interpret the Builder logo and how it ties into the nouns needs and model. Specifically back to your question around the three lines, it's just looking into the future. Like you're looking through a lens, a pair of glasses, or a pair of binoculars, or a kaleidoscope, or a telescope. It's looking into the future, and those lines would kind of represent the building blocks towards that future that we're working towards. What I would love now, just DAOs in general, and what I definitely want to see from them is really experimenting different interpretations of what the auction mechanism could look like. So at the moment with Nouns, it's 1 per day. BuilderDAO is also 1 per day. I want to see DAOs tweaking or playing around with different auction intervals. What would it mean if it's 1 an hour? What would it mean if it's 1 a month, or one every couple of months? With that potentially, how would that change engagement levels? How would that change DAO activity? I think that would be really cool to experiment with. I guess founder structure wise, I know we're getting a lot of user feedback around people wanting to use a safe, a Gnosis safe wallet as the main founder, or the wallet that has the vetoing power. So yeah, I think those are really valid experiments that we should try and really give it a go and see how that changes the governance side of things as well. But I guess the point is we want them to. I think the other thing as well, it's also the voting, the voting process itself. If we could see people try different sort of time locks. If you look at Nouns, they've got I think a 10-day or 12-day process for an entire proposal. We'd love to see DAOs coming out of Nouns Builder trying with a different voting period, or even a time lock period. I think that would be really exciting to see how quickly proposals could get passed. So I think one point a tweet that I came across recently around by Martin on Twitter. He's from Explorer Grants. Shout out to Martin. He's doing some amazing work with Explorer Grants. What if there's a sub-DAO that actually runs on a different, a compound governance contract with a much quicker, much smaller voting period instead of a 4 or 5 day period? It could be as short as 2 days. But point is, like, things act more quickly. That way, proposals can get passed quickly, and the project could get funding more quickly as well. Obviously, the threshold would be probably, like, the threshold for the funding sizes would probably be like the upper limit would probably like a smaller one such as 5E, 2E, 3E. But I feel like these are some of the things that I like to see DAOs experiment with using Nouns Builder.
Thanks again, Zaak.eth, for coming on the show. You can watch the whole live stream. I am at lilpanda.wtf on YouTube and on Twitter. Thanks for watching.